Baked parsnips with honey. Baked parsnips with honey were autumn comfort food that showcased how sweet, slow roasting could transform an often overlooked root vegetable into something genuinely elegant. Picture pale parsnips, peeled and sliced lengthwise, roasted until their edges caramelized while their centers became creamy and tender, then drizzled with honey that created a glossy glaze enhanced with fresh herbs like thyme or rosemary. The transformation that occurred in the oven was remarkable. Those sometimes tough, fibrous parsnips became sweet and yielding, while the honey caramelized on their surfaces to create beautiful golden brown edges that promised the sweet, complex flavors within. The natural sugars in the parsnips concentrated during roasting, creating depth of flavor that rivaled any fancy restaurant side dish. The honey wasn't just sweetener, it was flavor amplifier that enhanced the parsnips' natural earthiness while adding floral notes that made the whole dish feel more sophisticated. The herbs provided aromatic contrast that kept the sweetness from becoming overwhelming, creating perfect balance that worked with everything from roast chicken to holiday ham. This was the kind of recipe that Betty Crocker featured because it took an affordable, available ingredient and showed home cooks how to make it special through proper technique and thoughtful seasoning. It proved that you didn't need exotic ingredients to create something memorable, just understanding how to bring out the best in what you had. The preparation was simple enough for weeknight dinners, but impressive enough for company, making it one of those versatile recipes that could adapt to any occasion. The natural sweetness made it appealing to children, while the sophisticated flavor profile satisfied adult palates. Cold noodle salad with sesame dressing. Cold noodle salad with sesame dressing was Betty Crocker's answer to international flavors, bringing Asian-inspired taste combinations to American tables through familiar techniques and available ingredients. Picture tender noodles, usually spaghetti or thin egg noodles, tossed in a nutty sesame dressing made from sesame oil, soy sauce, vinegar, and just enough sweetness to balance the salty and tangy elements. The genius was in the dressing, that distinctive sesame flavor providing richness and depth, while the soy sauce added umami complexity, and the vinegar kept everything bright and refreshing. It was exotic enough to feel adventurous, but familiar enough in technique that home cooks could master it without special training or equipment. Crisp vegetables like julienned carrots, sliced cucumbers, and chopped scallions added color, crunch, and freshness that made every bite interesting and satisfying. The contrast of textures, tender noodles, crisp vegetables, and smooth dressing created eating experience that kept your attention from first bite to last. This dish represented the mid-century American embrace of international flavors, adapted for home kitchens and available ingredients. It wasn't authentic Asian cuisine, but it was successful fusion that introduced families to new flavor combinations while working within familiar cooking techniques and ingredient lists. The make-ahead quality made it perfect for picnics, potlucks, and busy weeknight dinners. When something substantial but refreshing was needed, the flavors actually improved as they melded together in the refrigerator, making it one of those rare dishes that rewarded advanced planning. What made cold noodle salad truly valuable was how it expanded American palates while remaining approachable and practical for everyday cooking, proving that good fusion cooking was about understanding flavors rather than strict authenticity. Deviled potato salad. Deviled potato salad wasn't just an ordinary side dish. It was a revelation that injected bold personality into the humble potato, transforming a simple picnic staple into a conversation-sparking centerpiece. Imagine plump Yukon Gold or russet potatoes simmered to the point where a fork slides through each cube with ease, yet still holds firm, then cooled just enough so their creamy interiors remain intact. Now, picture those golden morsels folded into a velvety dressing that combines tangy yellow mustard, velvety mayonnaise, a splash of sharp apple cider vinegar, and just enough sugar or honey to balance the acidity. A sprinkle of sweet paprika dances across the surface, hinting at the gentle warmth to come. The deviled moniker comes from that generous mustard kick, barnyard yellow streaks of piquant flavor weaving through each tender bite. Mustard lends both heat and brightness. Its vinegary edge cuts through the potatoes' starchiness, while its subtle spice lingers on the tongue, keeping every mouthful intriguing. When you lift a forkful, you can see the contrast of mustard's bold hue against potatoes' pale flesh, flecked with finely diced onions or scallions, ribbons of hard-boiled egg, and perhaps a handful of chopped pickles or celery for extra crunch. It's a vibrant tableau that promises excitement long before the first taste. Techniques matter here. Potatoes must be cooked gently. Too much heat, and they disintegrate, leaving you with gummy mash. Too little, and they remain chalky and under-seasoned. After draining and cooling, they absorb the dressing rather than repelling it, which means dressing the salad while the potatoes are still slightly warm, coaxing the flavors into every nook and cranny. Mustard and mayonnaise must be whisked to a glossy emulsion before folding in potatoes, ensuring seamless coating instead of gloppy clumps. A final stir of chopped herbs, tarragon for its anise notes, dill for its cooling crispness, or parsley for a clean finish, adds a fresh counterpoint that keeps the salad from feeling overly rich. Beyond its zesty taste, deviled potato salad solved two perennial potato salad problems: blandness and spoilage. Classic mayonnaise-heavy versions often tasted flat and suffered in summer heat, but deviled potato salad thrived outdoors. Mustard's acidity and vinegar's bite slowed bacterial growth, and the assertive flavors held up under sweltering picnic table conditions. It became a must-pack for church potlucks, county fairs, and backyard barbecues because it stayed safe, stayed bright, and stayed delicious, even after hours under the sun. Betty Crocker championed this variation in her mid-century cookbooks because it represented both culinary flair and practical wisdom. Home cooks could transform pantry staples, canned potatoes, bottled mustard, jars of vinegar, into a dish that tasted like they'd invested hours of effort. The recipe's step-by-step instructions reassured even novice chefs that they could achieve restaurant-worthy flavor at home, and the striking color contrast on the platter made it feel like an elegant contribution to any spread. Socially, deviled potato salad symbolized conviviality and resourcefulness. At family reunions, elders would reminisce about the first time they tasted this tangy twist, sharing stories of neighbors who sneaked extra helpings late in the day, or of lunch. Pale lunches, where a heaping scoop of this salad earned envious glances. In rural kitchens, cooks riffed on the base recipe, adding crisp bacon lardons for smoky richness, stirring in pickled jalapenos for a southern heat, or swapping yellow mustard for Dijon and a hint of horseradish for a more aristocratic bite. Each variation spoke to local tastes and generational creativity, yet all remained tethered to the recipe's core identity: bold, creamy, and unabashedly flavorful. Today, deviled potato salad enjoys a quiet renaissance. Chefs elevate it further with microgreen garnishes, smoked paprika oil drizzles, or heirloom potato blends that offer visual stripes of red, purple, and gold. Health-conscious cooks lighten it with Greek yogurt in place of mayo, or add roasted garlic for umami depth, while preserving the vibrant mustard backbone. Yet even in its contemporary incarnations, the spirit of the original endures, a willingness to break from bland convention, to celebrate pantry simplicity with audacious flavor, and to bring people together over a dish that tastes as good as it looks. In every creamy forkful, Deviled potato salad reminds us that great cooking isn't about extravagance, it's about ingenuity. It proves that a few simple ingredients, treated thoughtfully and seasoned courageously, can become something extraordinary, whether served on gingham tablecloths under a summer sun or plated with modern flair at upscale bistros. Deviled potato salad remains a testament to the enduring magic of turning the everyday into the exceptional. Smashed peas and potatoes. Smashed peas and potatoes was comfort food mathematics at its finest, a simple equation yielding exponential satisfaction. Imagine coming in from a chilly day, the kitchen warmed by the gentle hiss of peas steaming on the stovetop and the soft bubbling of potatoes in another pot. You drain the tender peas, their bright green hue still vibrant, and then you turn to the potatoes. Sweet and sour red cabbage. Sweet and sour red cabbage was German-American comfort food that brought old-world flavors to new-world tables, creating something that felt both exotic and familiar at the same time. Picture deep purple cabbage slowly braised with vinegar, brown sugar, and maybe some apples or bacon until it became glossy, tender, and complex, with layers of flavor that developed over long, slow cooking. The color alone was spectacular, that deep wine red that intensified during cooking, creating something that looked almost jewel-like on the plate. When properly prepared, it held its vibrant hue while becoming tender enough to cut with a fork, proving that vegetables could be both beautiful and substantial. The flavor profile was sophisticated in its complexity. The natural slight bitterness of cabbage balanced by sweet brown sugar, brightened with acidic vinegar, and often enriched with smoky bacon or sweet apples that melded together during the long braising process. Each bite delivered multiple taste sensations that kept your palate engaged and interested. This wasn't quick cooking or convenience food. It required time and patience as the cabbage slowly transformed from tough, raw vegetable into something silky and complex. The slow cooking process allowed all those flavors to penetrate every strand of cabbage, while the natural sugars caramelized and the acids mellowed into perfect balance. German immigrants brought this dish to America, where it found its place alongside roast pork, sausages, and other hearty fare that could stand up to its bold flavors. It represented the kind of cooking that connected families to their heritage while adapting to available ingredients and American tastes. What made sweet and sour red cabbage truly special was how it elevated a humble, inexpensive vegetable into something that could anchor a meal and create lasting memories around the dinner table, while it was still hot enough to make the leaves wilt and shine. The timing had to be perfect. Too hot, and you'd cook the lettuce completely. Too cool, and you'd miss that magical moment when the greens softened just enough to absorb flavor while maintaining their essential character. The result was unlike any salad you'd recognize today: warm, savory, and substantial enough to feel like a real side dish rather than just rabbit food. The bacon fat provided richness, the vinegar added bright acidity, and the sugar balanced everything with just enough sweetness to make those slightly bitter greens completely irresistible. This was Appalachian and Midwest wisdom at its finest, taking ingredients that cost almost nothing and turning them into something that felt like a feast. Hard-boiled eggs and sliced onions were common additions, creating even more substance and flavor complexity, while still maintaining that essential simplicity that made the dish special. What made wilted lettuce salad truly memorable was how it connected you to seasons and gardens. It only made sense when lettuce was at its most tender and fresh, creating a natural rhythm with growing seasons that modern eating has largely abandoned. It was food that belonged to specific times and places, making it feel more precious and intentional than our current year-round everything.